Before Louis Vuitton became one of the most powerful luxury brands in the world, it was simply the dream of a poor teenage boy walking alone across France. Today, the name Louis Vuitton represents wealth, fashion, celebrity culture, luxury bags, perfumes, and status. The famous LV logo is recognized almost everywhere on Earth, from Hollywood celebrities to musicians, athletes, royalty, and billionaires. Everyone seems to know the brand, but the story behind Louis Vuitton is much deeper than expensive handbags. It is a story about survival, innovation, travel, creativity, and one family's vision that changed fashion forever. And surprisingly, it all started with a 13-year-old boy who had almost nothing. Louis Vuitton was born in 1821 in a very small village called Anchay in eastern France. Life was difficult for him from the beginning. His mother died when he was still young. Later, his father remarried, and family life became painful and unhappy. Louis wanted a different future. He wanted an opportunity. He wanted freedom. So, in 1835, at only 13 years old, he made a life-changing decision. He left home completely alone and started walking to Paris. At that time, there were no modern trains connecting every town, no smartphones, no easy transportation. Paris was hundreds of kilometers away. The journey took nearly 2 years. During the trip, Louis survived by doing small jobs along the way. Sometimes he worked as a carpenter. Sometimes he helped farmers. Sometimes he slept in barns or simple shelters. He slowly traveled across France on foot until finally reaching Paris at age 16. And this moment would change fashion history forever. When Louis arrived in Paris, the city was growing rapidly. France was entering a new industrial age. Trains, boats, and horse-drawn carriages were becoming more important for travel. Wealthy people traveled with large amounts of luggage, clothing, hats, shoes, and personal items. But there was a huge problem. Travel luggage at the time was badly designed. Most trunks had rounded tops, so rainwater could slide off during carriage travel. But these rounded trunks were heavy, bulky, and impossible to stack efficiently. Travel itself was messy and difficult. Rich travelers needed craftsmen who could carefully pack and protect their belongings during long journeys. Young Louis noticed this opportunity. In 1837, Louis Vuitton became an apprentice for a respected Paris craftsman named Monsieur Marechal. Marechal specialized in making boxes, packing cases, and travel trunks for wealthy clients. Louis quickly proved himself talented. He was disciplined, hardworking, and extremely detail-oriented. Over time, he became known for his precision and creativity. For 17 years, Louis learned everything about travel craftsmanship. He studied woodwork, locks, fabrics, storage design, and the needs of travelers. And most importantly, he understood that travel itself was changing. Steamships and railways were becoming the future. Old luggage designs would no longer work. Louis realized he could reinvent travel entirely. Louis Vuitton's reputation grew rapidly among wealthy Parisian society. Eventually, his work became so respected that he received an extraordinary opportunity. In 1853, he was appointed the personal boxmaker and packer to Empress Eugénie, the wife of Napoleon III. This was a massive achievement. Working for the Empress meant Louis now had direct access to aristocrats, royal families, and the most elite customers in France. His name started spreading through high society, and only 1 year later, he took the biggest risk of his life. In 1854, Louis Vuitton officially opened his own workshop in Paris at Rue Neuve des Capucines. This was the birth of the Louis Vuitton brand. But Louis was not interested in simply copying other luggage makers. He wanted a completely redesigned travel. At that time, most trunks were still curved on top. Louis changed everything. In 1858, Louis Vuitton introduced the world's first flat-topped travel trunk. This idea sounds simple today, but back then it was revolutionary. Instead of rounded lids, Louis created flat trunks that could be stacked neatly inside trains and ships. This was perfect for the new modern transportation era. He also replaced heavy leather with a lightweight, waterproof canvas called Trianon Gray canvas. The trunks became lighter, stronger, more practical, and easier to carry. Suddenly, wealthy travelers wanted Vuitton trunks everywhere. Other companies immediately started copying his designs, and this was only the beginning. Demand became so high that Louis Vuitton needed a larger production space. So in 1859, he opened a new workshop in Anchay, just outside Paris. The Ancay's workshop became legendary. It was both the family home and the center of the Louis Vuitton business. The workshop started with only 20 employees, but over time, it expanded massively. By 1900, nearly 100 people worked there. By 1914, over 200 craftsmen worked in the atelier. Even today, the Ancay's workshop remains one of the most important places in Louis Vuitton history. Many special pieces and handmade luxury products are still created there. The location became a symbol of craftsmanship, creativity, and family tradition. As Louis Vuitton became more successful, many competitors copied his work. Fake products became a huge problem. To protect the brand, Louis constantly changed and improved his designs. In 1876, the company introduced a beige and brown striped canvas pattern. Later, in 1888, Louis created the famous damier canvas pattern featuring a checkerboard design and the words Marc LV Vuitton déposé. This meant the design was officially trademarked, but the company's most famous invention was still coming. By the late 1800s, wealthy travelers carried valuable jewelry, money, documents, and luxury clothing inside their trunks. Thefts during travel were common. So, in 1886, Louis Vuitton and his son Georges Vuitton developed a revolutionary lock system. It used a single tumbler lock with spring buckles. The lock was so advanced that Georges publicly challenged the famous escape artist Harry Houdini to escape from a locked Vuitton trunk. Houdini never accepted the challenge, and remarkably, variations of that same lock system are still used today. Louis Vuitton died in 1892. After his death, his son Georges Vuitton took control of the company. Georges had a huge vision for international expansion, but he also faced a growing problem, counterfeiting. So, in 1896, Georges created what would become one of the most recognizable fashion symbols in human history, the LV Monogram canvas. The design included floral patterns, quatrefoils, and the famous LV initials, honoring his father. Interestingly, many of the artistic influences came from Japanese family crests and Japanese art styles that were popular in Europe at the time. The monogram was elegant, unique, and difficult to copy. Soon, it became a global symbol of luxury. Even today, more than a century later, the LV Monogram remains one of the most recognized logos in the world. Under Georges Vuitton, the company expanded internationally. Louis Vuitton products appeared at global exhibitions and world fairs. New stores opened in cities like London, New York City, and Chicago. By 1913, the Louis Vuitton building on the Champs-Élysées in Paris became the largest travel goods store in the world. The company was no longer just a luggage workshop. It was becoming an international luxury empire. As travel habits changed during the 1900s, customers wanted smaller and more flexible luggage, so Louis Vuitton evolved again. In 1930, the company released the Louis Vuitton Keepall bag. It became one of the first luxury soft travel bags. Then came the Louis Vuitton Speedy bag. Originally designed as a smaller version of the Keepall, the Speedy became one of the most iconic handbags in fashion history. Later, actress Audrey Hepburn famously requested a smaller Speedy 25 size, helping turn it into a fashion legend. In 1932, Louis Vuitton introduced the Louis Vuitton Noé bag. Interestingly, it was originally designed to carry champagne bottles. Today, it remains one of the brand's classic designs. Like many European companies during World War II, Louis Vuitton's history during the Nazi occupation remains controversial. Historical reports later revealed that members of the Vuitton family worked closely with the Vichy government during the German occupation of France. A factory reportedly produced items supporting Philippe Pétain's government. Years later, these revelations created criticism and debate surrounding the company's wartime actions. Louis Vuitton's modern parent company later described it as part of an earlier family-run era before the creation of modern LVMH. Even today, this period remains one of the most sensitive chapters in the brand's history. After World War II, fashion and luxury exploded again. People wanted elegance, beauty, and status. Louis Vuitton slowly expanded beyond trunks into handbags, wallets, purses, and leather goods. In 1959, the monogram canvas was redesigned into a softer material that worked better for handbags and everyday fashion items. During the 1960s and 1970s, the company continued growing internationally, and then came one of the biggest turning points in luxury history. In 1987, Louis Vuitton merged with Moet Hennessy to create LVMH. This merger changed the luxury industry forever. LVMH eventually became the largest luxury conglomerate in the world. The group would later own brands like Dior, Fendi, Givenchy, Tiffany & Co., and Sephora. And at the center of this empire stood Louis Vuitton. Eventually, businessman Bernard Arnault became the driving force behind LVMH's global dominance. Today, LVMH is considered one of the most powerful luxury groups on earth. For many years, Louis Vuitton focused mainly on luggage and leather goods. But in 1997, everything changed. Marc Jacobs became the brand's first artistic director for fashion collections. He launched Louis Vuitton's first ready-to-wear clothing line, and this was a massive transformation. Louis Vuitton was no longer only about travel. It was now becoming a fashion powerhouse. Marc Jacobs also pioneered famous artist collaborations. Louis Vuitton became famous for blending luxury fashion with art, music, and pop culture. One of the biggest collaborations came with Japanese artist Takashi Murakami. Together, they created colorful, multicolored monogram bags that became hugely popular during the 2000s celebrity era. The brand also collaborated with Steven Sprouse, Jeff Koons, Yayoi Kusama, and Supreme. The Supreme collaboration in 2017 especially shocked the fashion world by combining luxury fashion with streetwear culture. Products sold out almost instantly. In 2018, Louis Vuitton made another historic decision. Virgil Abloh became the artistic director of menswear. He was the first black artistic director in the brand's history. Virgil transformed Louis Vuitton by mixing luxury fashion with modern street culture, sneakers, music, and youth fashion. He connected the brand with an entirely new generation. His runway shows became cultural events. Celebrities, rappers, athletes, and young fans suddenly viewed Louis Vuitton differently, not as an old luxury luggage company, but as modern culture itself. Sadly, Virgil Abloh passed away in 2021 after privately battling cancer. His death deeply affected the fashion world, but his influence on Louis Vuitton remains enormous. In 2023, musician and producer Pharrell Williams became the creative director of menswear. His appointment showed how much fashion had changed. Louis Vuitton was no longer just connected to traditional fashion designers. Now music, entertainment, art, and celebrity culture were fully part of the brand identity. Pharrell's fashion shows became huge global spectacles featuring celebrities, musicians, athletes, and viral moments. The brand continued evolving with every generation. Today, Louis Vuitton is not only famous for bags and fashion, its fragrances have become incredibly popular among perfume collectors around the world. Many fragrance fans now consider Louis Vuitton perfume some of the best luxury scents available. One of the most famous is Louis Vuitton Imagination. It became especially popular for its clean luxury feel, featuring citrus, black tea, and fresh soap-like elegance. Another legendary fragrance is Louis Vuitton Ombre Nomade. This scent is dark, rich, mysterious, and built around oud wood and smoky oriental notes. For women, Louis Vuitton Attrape Rêve became a favorite because of its playful blend of peony, cocoa, and lychee. Louis Vuitton L'Immensité became another top men's fragrance known for spicy ginger and grapefruit freshness, and Louis Vuitton Afternoon Swim became loved for its bright citrus energy inspired by Mediterranean summer vibes. Behind these fragrances is master perfumer Jacques Cavalier. He uses advanced extraction techniques to capture more natural and realistic scent materials. Louis Vuitton also introduced refillable perfume bottles worldwide, which became popular among collectors interested in sustainability and luxury craftsmanship. The company's perfume headquarters in Grasse, called Les Fontaines Parfumées, even includes scented fountains flowing with fragrance-infused water. Today, Louis Vuitton is one of the most counterfeited fashion brands in the world. The irony is incredible. The famous LV Monogram itself was originally created to stop fake products. Yet now, fake Louis Vuitton items appear everywhere globally. Because the brand became such a powerful symbol of wealth and status, counterfeit markets exploded. The company spends enormous amounts of money fighting fake products worldwide. Over the decades, countless celebrities helped increase the brand's global popularity. The brand also became heavily connected with hip-hop culture. Artists like Kanye West and many others referenced Louis Vuitton in music lyrics, making the brand even more influential among younger audiences. Today, Louis Vuitton operates hundreds of stores worldwide across more than 50 countries. The brand sells luxury bags, fashion, jewelry, shoes, watches, fragrances, accessories, and even books. It remains one of the most valuable luxury brands on earth. And yet, the company's entire story began with a teenager carrying almost nothing except ambition. A boy who walked hundreds of kilometers to Paris searching for a better life. That journey eventually created one of the greatest luxury empires in history.